predator becomes prey in the Florida Everglades as hundreds of hunters descend on the Sunshine State.
We always knew the Everglades were dangerous, but we didn't know the swamp was dying until an artificial intelligence program started connecting the dots. It analyzed thousands of hours of footage and found a disturbing correlation. Wherever a specific heat signature appeared, everything else disappeared. The AI painted a map of the swamp that looked like a war zone.
Burmese pythons takes more than just a sharp eye. They're sneaky, slippery, and hard to spot. But now wildlife teams have a new snake hunting tool in their arsenal.
Scientists are scrambling to explain the speed of this takeover. It turns out the Florida swamps are hiding a secret aftermath that human eyes were too slow to catch, but the machine saw everything. The pattern, no one noticed. The system flagged massive sectors of the swamp as biologically silent. In these zones, the usual heat signatures of raccoons, marsh rabbits, and bobcats were missing. Gone. The AI highlighted these areas in red, creating a map that looked less like a nature preserve and more like a blast radius. At first, the researchers thought the sensors were broken. How could 90% of the mammals in a protected area just vanish? They sent teams out to verify the AI's findings. They checked the game trails. They set up manual cameras. They waited. But the machine was right. The silence was deafening. The footage that the AI analyzed showed beautiful, lush landscapes, but they were ghost towns. It was an aftermath without a clear cause.
Severe declines in mammal populations throughout Everglades National Park have been linked to the species. One study finding populations of raccoons and opossums dropped 99% over a 15-year period.
So here's the deal. The AI didn't just find a lack of animals, it found a new pattern. It detected a specific low-temperature movement sliding through the sawgrass, something that didn't show up on traditional radar the same way warm-blooded mammals do. It was a cold-blooded signature, massive and stealthy, moving through the ghost zones like a shadow. This wasn't just nature taking its course. This was a systematic purge. The AI revealed that the disappearance of the mammals matched perfectly with the expansion of this cold-blooded signal. It was a perfect inverse correlation. As the signal moved in, everything else blinked out. The scientists were baffled by the speed of it. Ecological changes usually take decades. This had happened in the blink of an eye, geologically speaking. The AI's predictive models showed that if this trend continued, the red zones would consume the entire Everglades. The swamp wasn't just losing species, it was being reformatted. But it gets crazier. The AI also noticed changes in the physical terrain. It spotted overgrown vegetation in areas that used to be clear. Without the small mammals to eat the seeds and trample the brush, the plants were choking the waterways. The landscape itself was morphing. This revelation shook the scientific community. They realized they weren't looking at a natural fluctuation. They were looking at the aftermath of an invasion so successful, it was rewriting the rules of the ecosystem. The AI had pulled back the curtain on a disaster that was happening silently, underwater and in the tall grass. The question wasn't where did the animals go anymore, the question was what is eating them? And the answer, as the AI data suggested, was growing larger by the day. The swamp was hiding a monster, and the machine had just pointed a finger right at it.
This jaw-dropping video shows a 115-pound snake doing just that, its jaws stretched around a 77-pound white-tailed deer.
The perfect predator returns. It turns out the cold-blooded signal the AI detected belongs to one of the most effective predators on the planet, the Burmese python. These aren't just snakes, they are biological machines built for domination. Native to Southeast Asia, they were never supposed to be here. But through a mix of the exotic pet trade and accidental releases during hurricanes like Andrew in 1992, they found a new home. And get this, the Everglades turned out to be a python paradise. It has heat, water, and an endless buffet of unsuspecting prey. In the beginning, nobody panicked. A few snakes here and there didn't seem like a crisis, but biology did its thing. Pythons reproduce fast. A single female can lay up to 100 eggs. And in the Florida swamps, there are no natural predators big enough to stop an adult python. They sit at the top of the food chain, unchallenged. The AI data makes sense now. The ghost zones are simply the areas where the pythons have established total control. These snakes are masters of stealth. Their camouflage is so perfect that a 10-foot python can disappear into a patch of grass just 3 feet away from you. You could walk right past one and never know it. But the crazy part is their appetite. These snakes are constrictors. They don't just bite, they squeeze the life out of their prey. And they are ambitious. We aren't just talking about rats and mice, we are talking about deer, alligators, even bobcats.
Every python that these participants removed is one more python out of here. We said one more out of the glades, but that's also one less thing that's just eating the glades.
The footage analyzed by the AI showed pythons engaging with animals far larger than themselves. They have jaws that unhinge to swallow prey whole. Once a population of pythons moves into an area, they act like a vacuum cleaner. They consume everything. Scientists estimate there are tens of thousands of them out there now, maybe hundreds of thousands. The exact number is a mystery because they are so hard to count. But the AI doesn't need to see every snake. It just needs to see the empty space they leave behind. The invasion was silent. While humans were worried about pollution or development, the pythons were slowly, methodically eating their way through the food web. They didn't just enter the ecosystem, they broke it. Everyone is obsessed with the idea of a balanced nature. But nature isn't always balanced. Sometimes a new player enters the game and flips the board. The Burmese python is that player. It is an invasive force that the native wildlife has no defense against. The rabbits and raccoons of Florida evolved to hide from foxes and hawks, not from a giant constrictor that hunts by scent and heat. So the AI's revelation wasn't a glitch, it was a crime map. And the perpetrator is a creature that can grow to over 18 feet long and weigh as much as a fully grown man. The swamp isn't wild anymore. It is occupied territory. But eating the animals was just the start. The damage goes much deeper than that.
My team has removed over 18 tons of python from a very small area outside of Naples. We didn't want to alarm people, we just want to showcase what our native wildlife is up against across the greater Everglades ecosystem.
Beyond the vanishing wildlife. What most people don't realize is that an ecosystem is like a giant Jenga tower. You pull out one block and it might hold. You pull out 10 and the whole thing starts to wobble. The Burmese python hasn't just pulled out a few blocks, it is kicking the table. The AI analysis highlighted a cascading failure. It is not just that the raccoons are gone, it is what happens after the raccoons are gone. Think about it. Small mammals are the cleanup crew of the swamp. They eat seeds, they spread plants, they control insect populations. When you delete the cleanup crew, the mess piles up. The AI spotted areas where vegetation is growing wild and unchecked, changing the flow of water and altering the soil composition. And here's the catch. The predators that should be there, the native bobcats, the foxes, the hawks, are starving. The footage shows them looking thin, desperate. They are being forced to move out of the deep swamp and closer to human settlements to find food. This explains the uptick in sightings of wild animals in backyards. They aren't invading, they are refugees fleeing the python zones. The birds are hit hard too. Pythons love eggs. Ground nesting birds don't stand a chance. The AI audio analysis picked up a significant drop in bird calls in the python-dense sectors. The swamp, which should be a symphony of chirps and calls, is falling silent. It is a total system crash. The soil itself is changing. Burrowing animals like marsh rabbits and armadillos help aerate the ground. Without them, the soil packs down tight. This changes how the water absorbs during the rainy season. It sounds small, but in a delicate wetland like the Everglades, these micro changes add up to a macro disaster. Basically, the python is rewriting the geography of Florida.
A new study finds invasive Burmese pythons in South Florida, which can grow to 18 feet long, are able to open their jaws wider than previously thought.
The AI also detected something else troubling: the rise of other invaders. With the native mammals gone, there is less competition for other non-native species. The data showed spikes in exotic rats and invasive fish populations in the very same dead zones. It is like the pythons cleared the way for a whole new team of invaders to move in. This is the aftermath the title promised. It isn't just a few dead animals, it is a fundamental shift in how the swamp works. We are looking at a future where the Everglades as we know it ceases to exist, replaced by a strange, silent jungle ruled by invasive giants. The scientists are calling it a trophic cascade. That is a fancy way of saying everything is falling apart from the top down. The pythons eat the prey, the native predators starve, the plants change, the water shifts, and suddenly you have a completely different planet. But humans aren't going down without a fight, and they are bringing the heavy tech. The future of conservation. So how do you fight a ghost? You use a machine that sees ghosts. The same AI that revealed the disaster is now being used to fight it. Scientists and conservationists are launching a high-tech war against the pythons. They are using smart drones equipped with multispectral cameras. These aren't your average backyard drones. These things can see through the canopy. But here's the catch. Pythons are cold-blooded, which means they usually blend in with the cool water and mud. Thermal cameras struggle to see them during the day. So the teams are flying at night, catching the snakes when they come out onto the levees to absorb the remaining heat from the road. The AI scans the video feed in real time, putting a red box around anything that looks like a snake. It is like a video game, but the stakes are the survival of an ecosystem. They are also using GPS tagging. Sometimes they implant a tracker and let it go. Why? Because that male will lead them to the females. It is called the Judas Snake program. One traitor snake betrays the location of the breeding ground. The AI tracks these movements, mapping out the hidden networks of the python population, and that is putting it lightly. The data from these Judas snakes is mind-blowing. It turns out these snakes travel much further and faster than anyone thought. They have secret highways through the mangroves that humans can't even reach. There is also a bounty on their heads. The state has incentivized hunters to go in and remove them. But hunting in the swamp is brutal. It is hot, wet, and full of mosquitoes. That is why the tech is so crucial. It tells the hunters exactly where to go. The AI is also predicting where the pythons will move next. It is running simulations based on water levels and prey availability. It is a game of chess. The computer says the snakes will move to this ridge in 3 weeks, and the humans set up traps there. But it is not that simple though. The pythons are learning too. The footage shows them becoming more nocturnal, more secretive. They are adapting to the pressure. It is an arms race between biological evolution and artificial intelligence.
On this day, the team sat down and we watched this extraordinary event unfold in front of us.
The wow factor here is the sheer scale of the effort. We are talking about using military-grade surveillance tech to hunt a reptile. It shows just how desperate the situation has become. If we can't stop them with tech, we might not be able to stop them at all. But even with all this technology, there is one question that keeps scientists awake at night. A warning for the future. Let's get real for a second. We have the drones, we have the AI, we have the hunters. But is it enough? The final analysis from the AI left scientists with a controversial question. The data suggests that the python population might have already reached a tipping point. This means they are so established, so integrated into the environment that we might never be able to get rid of them completely. The mystery isn't, can we find them anymore? The mystery is, what does the new Florida look like? Are we watching evolution and fast forward? Maybe the Everglades of the future isn't a broken ecosystem, but a new one. One where giant snakes are the kings. It is a terrifying thought, but the data doesn't lie. The swamp is resilient. It is changing, adapting to its new overlords. And get this, the AI has started flagging anomalies in other states. Similar heat signatures. Similar ghost zones. Are the pythons moving north? Are they evolving to survive the cold? The simulation says it is possible. This brings us back to the viewers watching this. You might think this is just a Florida problem, but if an invasive species can rewrite an entire ecosystem under the nose of modern science, what else is happening out there that we haven't noticed yet? Maybe the AI didn't just reveal a snake problem. Maybe it revealed that we are not as in control of nature as we think we are. The swamp is a puzzle, and every time we find a piece, the picture changes. So the next time you look at a peaceful landscape, ask yourself, is it really peaceful? Or is it just silent because something ate everything else? So do you think AI is our only hope to save the swamp, or is nature already too far gone to be fixed? Let me know your theory in the comments. If you want more mysteries uncovered by tech, hit that like button and subscribe. See you in the next one.